Imagine swimming 18 hours and 59 minutes in water that's just 56 degrees Fahrenheit. Imagine swimming from Ireland to Scotland. Imagine now that this is your 4th attempt, because the first time you tried, you were stung 200 times by jellyfish. In this astounding episode of Open Water Wednesday, Open Water Source presents the determined Annemarie Ward, the 2010 World Open Water Swimming Woman of the Year.
The last probably 6 hours then, but I still had it in my head if I didn't make the shoreline in these 6 hours that I had lost it again, that it was going to be pulled north. So I just really focused. I got into I suppose a zone, and I had my little mantras. I kept saying, the boys will bring me home, the boys will bring me home, and I just kept saying that over and over in my head, and I just kind of knocked out I didn't focus on the cold, and I didn't focus on the stings, because I knew that, if I started letting that into my head, that, again, that I wouldn't be able to perform as well as I did. So a lot of it, a lot of that swim was mental preparation and mental focus, and staying with it. And then probably the last mile was extremely difficult, because there's a lot of little eddies and tides in close to the Scottish shoreline, and we didn't get the tide with us going in. The tide actually was flowing northwards again in the little eddies along the Scottish coastline, and I really had to work hard. And they were telling me, you've got 500 metres to go, but it was pitch black, and the Scottish coastline is a very barren coastline. There's very little light, and very few houses, so it was really, I couldn't actually see the shoreline even though I was very close to it. And they, when they said 500 metres, about 15 minutes later, I was still swimming, and I thought, this is never going to come to an end. But again, they were just all shouting at me, keep your head down, go, 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 and I just kept at it. And then I couldn't believe it. They shone a big spotlight then, and I could see it was a kind of a rough coastline then, that I walked up onto. I kind of had to clamber over a couple of rocks and things to get up onto a rough coastline. And yeah, it was 3:30 in the morning, and I suppose my reaction really was just, thank God that is over, and it's achieved. It was more a sense of relief probably than a sense of jubilation. It was, I suppose, 3 hard years of work and disappointment, from myself and from everybody around me, and we'd finally achieved it. It was just, it's hard to explain, just the whole sense of, relief. So I went back out, and they got me on board the boat, and I was cold after 19 hours in the water, of 12-degree water, and I had quite a few stings as well. So, I was just wrapped up in a few layers, and we just turned around and went back to Ireland. So we had a few hours on the boat going back to, I suppose, reflect, and everybody was tired, and as I say, it was more a sense of relief. Just it's hard to explain, just the relief on everybody's face, and as opposed to heading back to Ireland again disappointed. And so that's our story really. It was just as I said, it's just such a fantastic honour now. We never really celebrated the North Channel, because I suppose we were all busy and kind of going back. We all had to get back to work and get back to our lives, and I suppose this award really is really it's an opportunity for us all to I suppose sit back and really say, yeah, we've achieved something here, and it's nice, it's lovely.
Yeah. One specific question: what do you do to treat for the jellyfish stings? Is there anything you can do?
Life takes different paths to one's goals. No one epitomizes that like the 2010 World Open Water Swimming Woman of the Year, Annemarie Ward of Ireland. Far away from world-class 50-meter pools, Annemarie learned how to swim in the sea. No lanes, no walls, no lines, just her and the sea. Rough water, cold water, endless water. Those were the parameters of her training venue in Ireland. She loved swimming as a young girl, and she loves it even more as a mature woman. But her path to winning the Woman of the Year honor was not straight. It took left turns and right turns, very similar to her 20-hour swim across the English Channel. Annemarie's life took her along a stressful career path where more time was spent behind a desk than living a healthy, active lifestyle. But she never lost her love for the sea. The allure of the ocean pulled her back to the water. Step by step, mile by mile, year by year, she forged on, starting at a local 2-mile swim and ultimately completing the hardest channel in the world, the North Channel between Ireland and Scotland. This is her story in her own words. Open Water Wednesday welcomes the 2010 World Open Water Swimming Woman of the Year, as introduced by fellow veteran marathon swimmer Ned Dennison. Your host for this exclusive presentation is Stephen Munatones. Stephen Munatones is an International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame inductee. He has prepared open water swimming materials used by NBC, USA Swimming, the Beijing Olympic Committee, the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, National Public Radio, and National Geographic magazine. And now, Open Water Source is pleased to present your host, Stephen Munatones, with the 2010 World Open Water Swimming Woman of the Year, Annemarie Ward.
Hello, we're here at Open Water Wednesday with Ned Dennison, a fellow Irish swimmer with and friend of Annemarie Ward, the 2010 World Open Water Swimming Woman of the Year. How are you on this New Year's Day, Ned?
Oh, I'm doing fine, Steve. I've got my plan set out for 2011, and as soon as the pool opens tomorrow, I'll be working the plan.
Oh, great, great. I wanted to ask you about Annemarie Ward. She did an incredible swim this year. Can you actually explain a little bit about her and her swim?
I will do. I'll start with the swim. The North Channel is a particularly nasty, horrible, and ugly swim. It's approximately the same distance as the English Channel, and that's where the similarity ends. It's much further north. The water is almost always colder. Water temperature can be 8 to 14 degrees, and you could probably enjoy that temperature range on the same swim. The second thing that makes the North Channel a little bit unusual is that generally in the summer there are outbreaks of large lion-maned jellyfish. And for your American viewers, think of the jellyfish the size of a garbage can lid. And for the English and Irish, we call them bin lids. When you see a lion's mane in the water, depending on the light conditions, it can light up literally the whole water around you with large tentacles all over the place. On not this successful swim, but the previous swim, Annemarie was in for just 4 hours, and in the 4 hours, her boat crew estimate that she didn't really get an arm stroke without hitting a jellyfish in the entire 4 hours. They spent about 20 minutes literally trying to find a place to put her in the water to start.
And this is actually her fourth
final condition, and literally the thing that makes it the hardest is people will have their stories about going to Dover and being there for a week and not being able to swim, and only on the 9th day did they get a swim. Well, the North Channel's a bit different. We had a swimmer training here in Cork, Ireland a couple of years ago, Imelda Lynch, and in a period of one summer, she didn't get a single day.
Wow.
So that's the boat people looking at the weather and saying, look, not tomorrow, not tomorrow, not tomorrow, literally for the entire season. So the conditions up there are really, really variable. They're very hard to predict. And as a result, Annemarie, if I believe I'm correct, was the 11th successful solo swimmer to complete the North Channel.
What direction did she go?
She went from Ireland to Scotland.
Okay. Okay.
And then as far as Annemarie as a person, Annemarie is got the largest smile of any swimmer in the world. I've never seen her in anything but good humor. And keeping in mind that she had 3 or 4 attempts at the North Channel, you would thought that might have put her off. She kept smiling through the whole thing. And her real introduction to open water swimming is she was one of the 6 people who did a relay swim around the island of Ireland,
Wow.
which is about 900 miles. So there were 6 of them, and it took them something like 2 months.
Wow.
So I don't know about you, Steve, but I've got about 15 hours of ugliness in me, but I don't really have 2 months of swimming ugliness in me.
Wow.
And these people, the conditions they faced going around Ireland, they were a week or 2 where they literally couldn't swim.
Wow. So, what do you think drives Annemarie?
I think she just ended up getting the goal in her head.
Yeah.
And once she started, each of the times she was kind of knocked back, she just took a step back and rededicated herself to the goal and kept going. She was surrounded by a group of friends and colleagues. One of her mentors is Kieran from Sligo, who had also swum the English Channel, Manhattan, Gibraltar, and a few other things. And she had a really experienced bunch of what I call watermen who literally knew the seas up there. And they, the group of them just weren't quitting.
Yeah.
And just kept coming back year after year until she completed.
Wow. Wow. And what does her effort tell the rest of us? What can we learn from her, obviously? There's a lot.
Well, I think that one of the absolute great things about open water swimming is you don't need to have been a school champion. You didn't need to be on your national team. You didn't need to go to the Olympics. And Annemarie Ward is not a fast swimmer. What she has is she has absolute incredible determination, and she has a swimming stroke and a swimming speed that she kind of jokes it's one speed, but she believes she can go forever.
Yeah.
And I think, as you run into swimmers in your programs around the world, there's all sorts of different speeds out there. There's all sorts of different determination levels. And, be careful of the people who have the greatest determination levels, because once they set their mind to it, nothing stops them.
Yeah, that's obviously the case with Annemarie.
Absolutely, and I think as well as a year when we saw Jackie set the record for the longest English Channel swim. Here's a woman that just wouldn't give up.
Yes, yes.
So a couple of really inspirational ladies this year.
Yes. Inspirational ladies, and from everything that I've read and seen and heard about, it's only getting more and more popular and bigger with people having greater goals.
Yeah, and I think as well that we've all got a little more free time than we had 20 years ago in a lot of ways. The availability of open water, the popularity of the sport, the formation of groups. Unfortunately for Annemarie, she was located in a part of the country where a lot of her swimming was, pretty lonely event. But if you're lucky enough to be surrounded by a pod of open water swimmers, take advantage of all of that mutual support.
Well, Ned, thank you very much for joining us on New Year's Day. And I think we can both expect that 2011 is going to be even greater.
Thank you very much, Steve. Take care.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We're here with Annemarie Ward on Open Water Wednesday. How are you over there, Annemarie?
I'm very good. Excellent.
How do you feel about receiving that honor?
I'm absolutely delighted. I mean, for me, it was just an honour to be included in the short list of 12.